The restaurant industry is evolving faster than ever. From local mom and pop shops to national chains, online ordering has become the backbone of modern dining. But with so many platforms, integrations, and customer expectations, how do restaurants stay ahead? For some, it's about speed, offering quick solutions that patch together one system. But for Onosys, it's about control, giving restaurants the power to own their ordering experience, build better relationships with customers, and maximize profitability. In this episode, we sit down with their team to explore what it takes to build out online ordering, enhance customer experience, and drive repeat business. Come experience the Onosys difference. Are there any differences now between what restaurants were looking for in 2010 versus what you're now building into the 2025s and later on?
Yeah, I mean, quite a bit. They're looking for more complexity. They know what they want now, instead of, they're just trying it out for the first time.
Yeah, like, hey, what do you got? Can we try it?
Yeah. And so, I mean, you got a lot more integrations, with loyalty providers, point of sale, third-party marketplaces is a big one now. Those didn't exist back then.
Yeah, and Ben, I think I remember it's because Ben's was talking to me about the story quite a bit. I think it's a fascinating story. I don't know if you like talking about it, but like when you got in like Onosys, you basically had to literally rewrite everything, correct?
Oh yeah,
Like the entire thing, the entire application.
Started over from scratch on my second day.
I had to convince the owners that they had to scrap everything they had and start over.
I mean, yeah, second day.
I mean, after that first day, I actually called my mom. I'm like, Mom, I'm thinking about doing something crazy.
Man, it paid off. I just thought that was a fascinating story.
No, it's interesting. I think so. You don't go to school for developing software in any capacity. When you're first doing the family business, did you sit down and try for the first time? And you're like, "Wow, this is different." Like, was there an immediate feeling like this is something I could do?
I actually thought I wanted to be a graphic designer first.
Okay.
And was trying that for a while, and then realized that I really liked the technical aspects better, and it was just kind of automatic. Like, I didn't choose it; it kind of chose me.
I would like for something to choose me sometime. That'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, the way Benzel talks about it is like he's probably like one of the more intelligent people he's ever met in his life. And again, me working with Matt Benzel, I would say that about him. So if him saying that about you, I mean, that's saying something.
Yeah, I mean, he was great.
Yep.
And I'm glad we got him, by the way.
Well, and the cool thing about Ryan though is he's self-taught, but he's an incredible mentor. And I'm sure Pavkov and Benzel will both say how Ryan impacted their careers in a positive way, and that goes to our average tenure for our developers is approaching 10 years average. We don't lose people. We grow people. And then we benefit from it as a company.
Yeah, that's crazy impressive. What would you say the average tenure for a developer is across like the industry? Would you know that offhand?
I've heard 4 to 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say like once the work gets stale, they're gonna go.
Yeah, they're gonna find a new project.
Go build something else.
Right.
But in our case, it goes to Ryan's leadership and in challenging people to do something different. So, we've got a lot of cool products now. The platform has evolved tremendously, and people are constantly being pushed to do better, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, everybody's ideas are welcome. You know, so if we have a new project and they want to try out a new technology and it seems like it's going to fit, then we'll run with it. At least to give it a go, spike it, see if it's really going to work, and then, you know, go all in. Right. So, you know, it's not like necessarily top-down decision making as far as the technology goes.
Right. And we just heard a lot of kind words from Aaron and Chris about yourself, but you mentioned you hired Chris. What was your first initial impression? Was it an immediate hire? How'd the interview go?
Well, technically, I didn't hire him because he didn't report to me.
Correct him. Don't put words in his mouth, Ben.
But yeah, when we were kind of merging with New Order, was that 5-6 years ago?
Yeah, about 6.
6 years ago, he was brought in to meet with me and Benzel, and he was at the time going to be the CFO. And yeah, me and Matt both liked him right off the bat, so it wasn't a tough decision.
Okay. Well, what was your initial impression of Onosys as a whole coming into everything?
Well, I had heard that overall there was just kind of a gap in the leadership aspect of the company from a presidential and operations perspective. I mean, we had really strong development, both Matt and you know, we've got so many Matts, right? At the time we had so many Matts and Ryan, right? So and there was the board wanted to make a change at the president level. So I was initially talking for CFO, COO, and it ended up evolving into a president role. So I had come from a software company called Seven Signal Solutions, which was a startup out of the Akron incubator. It was a Finland-based company that moved to the U.S. So I was their CFO, COO for years, and I understood software. We were developing lots of software. So, you know, in the interview process, we kind of spoke the same language. And I was asking a lot of the questions that I think these guys felt should have been asked over the years, right? In moving the company forward. So you know, I was impressed with both Ryan and Matt, and decided to go on this journey that has been pretty rewarding. And you know, we've evolved the company quite a bit through some pretty interesting times, right? You had COVID. COVID came on 6 months after I started. And we started looking at the platform itself and decided to make an investment into rebuilding the back end of the platform, the administrative portal, make it easier, more user-friendly. And that project was, about 2 years, right?
Pretty close. I mean, we did a lot more than that. You know, a lot of what we did was going towards making it easier to get changes out to production, making things more configurable on the fly so that you didn't require a deployment to change behaviors that were ultimately in the code base, but they weren't configurable or required customization for the UI and stuff like that. So we're running a lot more efficiently now, and that was another big initiative in terms of kind of that. You know, I don't want to say re-engineering because it wasn't starting from scratch, but just that huge update that took a couple years to get through and get into production for all of our brands.
Right.
Walking it back a little bit, you mentioned being with the Akron incubator and things like that. Are you both Northeast Ohio born and raised?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep, Northeast
Oh
Ohio.
yeah. Was that any piece of meeting for the first time? Did you feel like knowing someone from the same area? Did that have any beneficial relationship immediately upon meeting each other? Do you think?
I mean, I want to say at that time we were like 90% Northeast Ohio,
Okay.
born and bred.
That's awesome.
Right. And, you know, it's a Midwest culture, and we all kind of live it every day, you know. It was just a good fit.
Yeah, it's like you wouldn't believe the companies that are coming out of NEO right now. I mean, there's a lot of hardworking, you know, roll your sleeve up tech companies that are up and coming. And I think you guys embody that. You're not, you know, you're, you know, the best engineer at the company. You're not afraid to write a line of code, are you?
No, not at all. I mean, I don't get to very often anymore.
You probably miss it a little.
I haven't had a PR in about 6 years, but
That's not press release, by the way.
Yeah.
So-
Well, but the other cool thing is with all this work that we've done, it was really focused on our brands, right? It was trying to make their lives easier, because the original administrative portal was kind of built by engineers for engineers. We started noticing a lot more marketing, store managers, non-technical people going into the administrative portal. And so we made it a lot more intuitive, a lot more modern looking, and the feedback from the brands have been great. And then, as Ryan said, some of the other things we did to reduce the amount of time we had to spend from a development perspective, we saw the benefits of that last year. We accomplished so much as a company with our brands, with the features they wanted, and while all this was going on, we were also creating a marketplace order injection product. So
Yeah, I want to talk about that a little bit because I think that's pretty interesting. You're now competing with like the Chowleys and the Checkmates of the world, and how do you manage and navigate the POS and menu management aspects of this world?
menu management, especially for an enterprise brand, can get pretty complicated, right? So you've got potentially multiple payment processors across the brand, multiple different POSs across the brand. And so with those integrations, we do a custom mapping layer for each brand and for each POS so they can have a unified menu on the storefront for their guests to use that is optimized for somebody who doesn't come in with knowledge of the system itself. And rather than being designed for speed of entry, from a menu perspective, it's designed for just ease of use, and making everything clear, correct, and then you have to realign that with the structure of the menu and the point of sale.
So one of the areas that becomes beneficial, so let's say I'm a brand and I'm going from one POS to another. That usually takes months. So this allows for the brand to continue to have a seamless guest experience for online ordering while they're transitioning POSs. So that's pretty powerful.
And for enterprise brands like that, switching POS softwares or online ordering providers, it can be an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, I mean, and their customers never have to experience any disruption at all. I think one thing that's kind of unique about our system that most of the other ones don't do is, and it's a benefit of the same menu management strategy, is that you could switch stores in the middle of an order and it's not going to wipe out your cart, because regardless of whether there's differences in pricing or you have different items available, it'll let you know if there's an unavailable item that's already in your cart, and recalculate the prices and just let you modify that item, continue on, or switch back to the other location and drive a little farther.
Right. So it's pretty cool not losing your cart. So I've been on online ordering solutions where you've realized, well, I'm ordering from the wrong location, then you got to start over. More, kind of the most frustrating thing. Well, and the other thing is, our ability to use, pricing syncs, availability sync, taxes, 86ing. It makes it a pretty seamless experience for a brand to manage. And by utilizing those syncs, then we can do some things for the guest that isn't limited by the point of sale. So we can create a guest experience that the brand is really looking for.
And we talked a good bit here about POS and switching over from them and integrating new ones and things of that nature. How difficult is it for restaurants and your guys' online ordering specifically to be able to integrate into the existing POS infrastructure with these restaurant brands? Obviously, that's a key component of what you guys are doing on a daily basis, but initially, was there a big overwhelming factor trying to get into those systems, and now it's more seamless?
It's quite a bit easier now than it was at the beginning. At the start, it wasn't even always possible. It just kind of depended on which point of sale they were using. Now more and more of them are, going to some type of hybrid cloud, and they have a centralized integration point. So, it's just a simple API call, but there's still quite a few that don't have that. And, we have to run an agent on a computer within the individual store's network that will communicate with the POS directly and then communicate with the Onosys platform through a queue, just sending messages back and forth.
You're talking a lot about innovation and obviously in terms of AI and machine learning, someone would argue that AI is not even a real thing right now.
There's not.
But how are you guys preparing for the future in a world where softwares and services like that do exist or will exist?
I'm not 100% convinced of that last part, but no. But that's kind of a philosophical conversation. So, right now, as far as we're concerned, there are some interesting things that AI can do fairly well, but it still seems like not well enough. If you're starting from scratch on a project, you could probably, get some useful code out of AI. But if you need to fit it into a specific spot in the system and you need it to be bulletproof, half the time you might as well just code it up yourself. I mean, you could use it for a starting point. There's a couple models that are good at kind of cleaning up some code. And then I think the other useful area is in product recommendations. And we're working, looking at doing an integration with a company that does more of that personalized experience that, is based on who you are, what you've ordered, people who are, follow similar ordering patterns and stuff like that. And so we're looking forward to adding that aspect to our system for sure.
Right. Taking data from our system, maybe across brands, and aggregating that to create a more personalized experience, guest experience, based on your buying habits, your ordering habits, right? So that we can suggest things like if you typically order this type of sandwich, those are going to appear first, type of thing.
Yeah, it seems like you guys is making, I heard this, you guys both said it now numerous times, like the guest experience is what's paramount to what you guys are, when you're thinking about building software or like the business you're running or the services that you're providing, like the guest guest experience is paramount.
Yeah, I mean, so, what we do that's a little bit different than some of our competitors is when we bring on a new brand, customize the UI to match the look and feel of their corporate site, and use all of their branding assets, so that when you go from their corporate site and click over to online ordering, unless you're paying attention to that subdomain in the address bar, you won't even know that you're going from one platform to another.
Right, and having that seamless experience is really important for us. And we're trying to work with brands as far as when we onboard them. They've got loyalty, so we have loyalty integrations. How do they want that to appear? How seamless can we make that so that the guest doesn't even really know that they're logging into both online ordering and a loyalty platform as well? And so we've done a lot of work and it have really improved our platform. And getting back to marketplaces, brands try to cast a broader net. The whole idea is to leverage the advertising of Uber and DoorDash and Grubhub and, up in Canada, Skip, potentially Easy Cater, and, cast that broader net and then convert those customers from those platforms to your first party site. And by having the order injection, you get rid of all the tablets in the stores. It's very efficient. The menu is managed within Onosys, so it's pretty easy to manage. Usually it's one menu. There may be one or two things we have to adjust slightly for the marketplace technology, but it provides a lot less friction, more operational efficiency for the brands, so that all the orders are coming in through our platform into the point of sale in a way that they can process them for the guest.
And then, so you're saying basically the menu for these restaurant brands are housed through your platform, and then you disseminate that information to each marketplace platform from there?
Yes. So we publish the menus. We'll in many cases, there's an upcharge to the pricing, so they can manage how they want to price it, how they want to round the amounts into their point of sale. Very efficient. That's all within Onosys. And then
and then you can filter out which menu items you want to have available on the marketplaces. You can have special versions of menu items for the marketplaces. You don't necessarily want to offer all of your discounted combos and things like that, because you're already, paying a pretty big commission when those orders are coming in through the marketplaces. And, that's why we give them an easy way to mark those prices up, is to cover some of that commission.
Right. Imagine a human having to go into DoorDash, Uber Eats, their own native site, and then also manage it across
all locations,
100 locations,
right,
different states, different,
right,
different everything.
And a lot of places are still keying those marketplace orders in manually from the stores, and you've got already overloaded employees doing double duty.
Saving the in-store, like the operators of the menus, like it's incredible time saving.
Well, and even if they have a solution like a Checkmate or a Chowley, they're managing a menu in that solution. They're managing a menu in our solution. They're managing a menu in the point of sale. So the fewer menus that they have to manage, the more operational efficiency, the less people they need to throw at that type of stuff, and they could, utilize their people for their guests.
Yeah, it's not only less work. It's every single one of those is an opportunity to have something misaligned, right? You forget to update it in one place, and now your pricing's off, and your POS doesn't want it. Like it'll reject it in some cases. And I think another thing that's really cool about our marketplace product is that we can allow the restaurant to actually service the delivery, or route that to another DSP. Whether it's coming in from DoorDash and you ultimately route it back to DoorDash Drive, it's like no harm, no foul, but you have the opportunity to use your own drivers or send it to some other delivery service provider that's not the same as
Man, you guys are handling, essentially getting to the end-to-end, like owning almost the entire life cycle here, or being able to provide a solution that's like, hey, don't, you can stay on the Onosys platform and we'll handle essentially everything.
Right, and
Brilliant.
Ryan brings up a good point. We've created some integrations with some delivery service providers that are aggregators, like a Nash, First Delivery, and in certain verticals in the restaurant space, like pizza, a lot of pizza organizations have their own drivers. So this lets them utilize their own drivers for both first party and third party orders. And when there's a shortage, they leverage a DoorDash drive or Uber Direct as part of that solution. And it's a single solution where they can see where the orders are in the process of being delivered, that last mile piece of delivery. So it's pretty interesting. We're working with a pretty large pizza brand right now that's implementing that across all of their locations, and it's working really well.
Yeah, I think something that's interesting for me is something that gets mentioned very often is all of the fragmented solutions across this industry. You're kind of piecing and parting all these different parcels of technology to kind of form your own in-house solution. Is there a vision or viewpoint moving forward? You mentioned end-to-end delivery. You mentioned marketplace management, online ordering. We've talked a little bit about loyalty. Is there a position moving forward where Onosys just is an all-in-one solution?
I don't think so. So I think, the big pieces are your loyalty provider, your point of sale, and your online ordering provider, right? And they all are really pretty focused on different areas of the business. And just because your product is good at one of those things doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be good at the others, right? And so I think, really maintaining a focus is really the key to having the best available product.
Yeah, no, I think I agree 100%. I think, finding that hedgehog concept and core things that you're perfect at and can't perfect, it's the route you want to navigate.
What's the saying? It's like a jack of all trades is master of none.
Yeah,
something
master
along
of
those
none.
lines. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you'll see that in pizza. There's a couple, POS all-in-one solutions, right? Where they do online ordering, they do point of sale, they try to do payment, they do loyalty. And especially in pizza, where some of those solutions fall short is on online ordering and the guest experience for online ordering. Because pizza could get pretty complex with the half toppings, and we've got a brand that does specialty pizzas half and half, so you
I'm sure
can
we
have
do an entire episode about
right.
a lot of large
can.
pizzas.
right. And so, and the Onosys platform was originally built for a pizza brand, so we've got and have seen a lot of different types of pricing and ways to present that to the guest, and we handle pizza really well. We're going to the Pizza Expo this year, so we're pretty excited about that. And we brought on a number of pizza brands last year. One of the areas in pizza is call center technology. And while we don't man a call center, we provide, as part of the platform, we provide a solution utilizing the same menu, the same platform for an agent in a call center. And it's really built for an agent to get somebody on and off the phone quickly. It can tie into the phone system, so pull up the account, see their order history, see their favorites, see their loyalty points, all of that all in one, and get a guest on and off the phone very quickly. And so that's one of the areas that we, in addition to digital ordering, handling call-in orders is important, especially in the pizza space.
And actually, that's one area where I forgot to mention AI coming into play,
Or say,
right?
I was gonna say that. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, do you guys work with the company Kia by chance?
We don't work well. We have a relationship with Kia. We just haven't. It hasn't taken off, but we're aware of Kia. Voicify is out there, and we're talking to another brand up in Canada. So this technology is going to continue to improve and get adopted.
The more it gets trained, the more data it has. The better it's gonna be get.
Right. I think right now where the AI is really good at is taking care of the calls that are really non-value added, store hours, store location, those types of things. Take all those calls off of the people answering the phone for real pizza orders, right? So that's where we see a lot of adoption, and then the AI piece is evolving.
I think I know obviously you guys know the Mats and you know Kelly as well on our team. She was going over some of the questions I had for you guys, and we were talking about the half and half pizzas and things like that. She mentioned your guys' solution always being very customizable, and that was something you guys took a lot of pride in. And you're just talking about how some solutions have some difficulty with that. And is there anything you guys want to say in terms of what you're able to do for brands and the customizable options for pizza specifically, or any other restaurants you're working with?
I mean, I don't like to use the word custom.
Okay, what would you use?
Configurable.
Yeah, it's configurable is definitely the goal, right?
Noted.
And then,
Not a
but
tech guy.
when clients do have specific requests on features and stuff, more often than not, the answer is going to be yes. I think, which really makes us stand apart. But when we do that, it's not really custom in that once we add a feature, it becomes available for everybody.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. How do you view catering? Is there obviously, pizza, mealtime delivery, all those aspects that you're working within now, but is there any thought in the catering realm of things and how you pursue that, end-to-end delivery aspect of what your service is providing?
So, right around when Chris started, we were gearing up to do a big push on developing a product for catering. And then, COVID hit and the catering business kind of just died, right? Because no one was going to the office anymore. And 90% of catering orders are for office lunches. So that kind of got put on the back burner. And we do offer catering functionality, a different menu that can be comprised of some of the same items, but also completely different items, and a whole different set of business rules. Like, some of them want to have a 2-day lead time. Some of them, just the next business day. And so we do enable all of that, different payment types, different delivery zones, different delivery providers. All of that is possible on the platform today. But there are some tools that we would like to develop in the long run, geared more specifically towards catering for operational stuff for in restaurant.
And what about if you guys had to generically define what catering actually is? Does Onosys have a viewpoint or a stance on what catering itself by definition is?
Do you want to take first shot at that?
I think it's it's an order to feed a large group of people, but not necessarily a specific separate order for every single person. So typically you're going to slim down the available options. And then from the restaurant's perspective, it's more of an assembly line process. If you're doing it right. So you're preparing multiple orders, and you get the efficiency of, say you got to make 20 ham sandwiches and 40 turkey sandwiches for 3 different orders. You can make them all at one time and then divide them up to go and send them out to the individual destination.
Yeah, so providing that kind of operational efficiency in addition to, a guest experience that makes it easy to order for a large group. And, you talk to folks like, Terry Matthews and Earl Dardick, right? And, Terry was part of Onosys and at one point when we were kind of gearing up for catering. So a lot of the functionality he was kind of scoping out for us was the ability to have house accounts, so a different way to pay. The ability, as Ryan said, to operationally consolidate catering orders for a specific day so things can be prepped and then divided up properly. And then, CRM around catering, because you typically have a certain level of client that you're going to want to have contacts there and understand the client better. In addition, we're working on our marketplace for an order injection product for EasyCater. So a lot of brands use EasyCater to get into catering space, dip their toe into it, get some of those larger orders, and we want them to have the same operational efficiency that they do with the marketplaces. So that probably third, fourth quarter this year.
Yeah, I think if you go back, Ryan, a little bit ago, you kind of mentioned brands changing the offerings per menu item. I think menu optimization and catering specifically is almost much more critical in terms of how that food travels and how, like you said, can you produce it in bulk rapidly, have that food ready on time and ready to get out the door.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. It really is a separate business.
Like you probably shouldn't, have be like your top cater item probably shouldn't be like French fries. Just don't travel with it, you know what I'm saying?
It's just soggy fries sucks. Throwback. Remember
different
those guys?
Different brand.
Yeah,
now, but yeah.
say Savor Pack.
About 5 years ago.
Yeah, yeah, I remember those guys though. I want to talk about. We mentioned early on Northeast Ohio guys, and you work with one brand. I think fairly local to Northeast Ohio. I don't think they're outside the area yet. Winking Lizard. We're all big fans of the brands here.
It's like they're based in Cleveland, man.
Yeah, I didn't know if they had stemmed out of this Northeast Ohio area yet. I was pretty sure they hadn't. But what is it like working with a brand from the same area as you guys? Obviously, the communication's probably a little easier to go about. You can go meet those guys in person a little easier as opposed to Zoom calls, Google Meets, things like that. What is working with Winking Lizard been like?
I mean, it's been great. Everybody at Onosys is also big fans of Winking Lizard, so people were excited to actually be able to place online orders.
Yeah.
Well, and the way we got involved there was through a reseller. Winking Lizard was trying to utilize their point of sale for online ordering, and it just wasn't working well. And in fact, a lot of times on Friday and Saturday night, locations would just turn it off. So they came to us. They kind of had a vision because they were doing something already, and we implemented that vision for them. And as soon as we turned it on, the first weekend, the IT director said, "This is the first weekend I didn't get a call about online ordering being turned off or having problems." And it's really taken off from then, because the number of calls they're getting now are reduced in the stores because they basically say, "Hey, go online next time that you place your order." So the number of online orders are continuing to grow for that brand. It's a fun brand. I think they're opening a new location this year, so we're excited about that. Also want to bring up another Northeast Ohio brand.
Go right ahead.
Mr. Hero.
Okay.
Which-
Right around the corner over here. Mr. Hero.
Mr. Hero.
How many Roman burgers could you guys take down in one sitting?
Yeah, and they're a good brand. They're a lot of fun. They have 103 locations right now in kind of Northeast Ohio, and I think they're thinking of expanding down south too. But really good brand. We enjoy working with them.
Hell yeah. Would you say, this is kind of it's not off topic, but a little out of the blue. Would you prefer to start working with a brand who has never used an online ordering solution like a Winking Lizard, or pivot a brand to your guys' solution from a previous one? Is there one that's easier than the other?
I mean, a seasoned brand that has been doing online ordering for a while is generally easier to onboard, but sometimes they have a ton more requirements. So it's kind of a trade-off. With a brand that's never had online ordering before, sometimes it could be a challenge to get all the menu data, get all the photos and all the assets together, so that everything presents well to the guest, right? And so if you've never done it before, a lot of times you underestimate how much work actually goes into getting that system off the ground.
Right. And recently we've brought on a few brands that had their own kind of homegrown solutions. And the problem there a lot of brands run into is, people transition, leave, and kind of the core knowledge within the brand ends up leaving. The technology ends up getting stale, and they can't maintain it. So they come to someone like Onosys, where this is what we do for a living, and we end up replacing a homegrown solution, and you end up getting better results. We replaced one last year, and within the first 2 months, we saw a 30% lift in online sales.
Is there a brand that you guys could point to, or a restaurant out there that when you go and use their online ordering or their services that you could point to and say, this is the ideal use of Onosys, or this is what our product looks like in its best format?
I mean, so there's nobody that takes advantage of everything that we have available. So we would typically send you to like 5 or 6 different ones to check out different things. Like I said, we lean on the corporate website design a lot, and then they also have a lot of say in how what that UI looks like beyond that in terms of the menu, and we give them advice, but they don't always take it. So
Right.
there's always that.
And so from a solving problem perspective, I would say Pizza Ranch had pretty complex requirements. They're using split combo functionality within Revel, which created some real challenges for Ryan and his team. And also, they also have like kind of combo meals where they sell pizza and chicken. So we kind of created a process where you can step through that ordering process pretty efficiently with a stepped type of approach. So helping kind of guide a brand to say, okay, you've got this complexity in the ordering process. How do we make it easy for a guest to step through and get through that process? And so that's probably one of the more complex.
Yeah, I mean, from a menu perspective, it's probably the most complex. Chop Stop is another one. It's not necessarily that the menu is complex, it's that each item has a ton of configuration, and they have kind of an interesting pricing strategy where like 6 toppings come on it for free, and but there are like 6 of the non-premium toppings, and premium toppings cost twice as much. But when you
Right.
when you
Salad
pick a
brands,
premium topping, it doesn't count as 2, it counts as 1 plus 75 cents in it. But if you're over your 6, then it's
It's like he's
$1.50
unwinding a ball
or
of yarn.
Yeah.
yeah, and they're not necessarily grouped together either.
Right. And you get into that with pizza too, as so many toppings come, so many, then 4, 5, 6 are added, and it gets pretty complex.
I think we're coming up on lunchtime, and we're talking a lot about food. So
I'm getting hungry.
Yeah, I thought something we could close out on. You guys look like a couple of young, hungry guys. I just wanted to know if that phrase means anything
Yes,
to you two?
I knew it
or-
would get him to. I knew it would get him to crack a
does
smile.
does that
I
spark
knew
any
it.
memories, or how do we feel about that?
Live hungry, man.
Hungry.
We're not. Yeah.
Good, Chris, Ryan, I appreciate you guys' time today, man. Thank you
Hey,
so
hey,
much
well-
for coming down to the office.
Well, I just want so like just give us a snapshot in 3 to 5 years, like, or in the coming years, right? Like, what is Onosys gonna be known for in this industry? Like, what real problem are you guys gonna be like? Hey, we solved this problem.
I mean, we'll probably always be known for orange shoes.
Yeah. I don't know, creating an efficient ordering process, a solution, a technology solution that solves problems, and is brand forward, and delivers a high level of customer service. That's really one thing that, we actually put on a marketing slick, the experience the Onosys difference. And really our people make the difference. But we started saying, hey, we've got average tenure on the dev side of 10 years, and we don't get a lot of turnover in the organization. So brands are working with people that have tons of experience, and they can leverage our experience to accomplish their goals.
I love it.
Hell yeah.
Very powerful.
All right, gentlemen. I do greatly appreciate you guys coming down to the office, sharing your time with me today. It was great to meet you guys both in person, and I'll let you guys go have some lunch.
Yeah, thanks. Nice to meet you.
Thank you, gentlemen.